Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Dear Venerable Sangha, Buddhist ladies and gentlemen, you are invited to join us in this weekly Buddhist Newsreel on Virtual Online channel. Hereafter, 6 major headlines of Buddhist activities of the week. Director of Hanoi National University pays a visit to Most Venerable Chairman of Administrative Council, Vietnam Buddhist Sangha. GIANG Inauguration of Electronic Administrative Office and ABBOT Skill Training Course 2023. Hanoi, series of programs to visit retreat points in the city. Central Cultural Section and Provincial Buddhist Boards of Thừa Thiên Huế, Quảng Trị, Quảng Nam, and Quảng Ngãi collaborate to propagate Buddhist cultural projects. Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu, leaders of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha offered incense to commemorate heroes and martyrs in Côn Đảo. Quảng Ninh, vegan fiesta join hands to protect the environment. The following are the news in details. On the afternoon of July 19, Professor Dr. Lê Quân, Director of Hanoi National University, as the team leader, came to Minh Đạo Pagoda, District 3, Ho Chi Minh City, to visit Most Venerable TIểng NGANY, Chairman of the Administrative Council, Vietnam Buddhist Sangha.
Professor Dr. Lê Quân gave a brief overview of the university and informed the Most Venerable Master about a number of projects in collaboration with the Vietnam Institute of Buddhist Studies and the Vietnamese Buddhist Institutes in research exchange, translation, and coordination in organizing scientific conferences and seminars, exchange of scientific documents, cooperation in implementing educational projects. On behalf of the school, Professor Dr. Lê Quân sent his regards to the House of the Most Venerable of the Administrative Council, Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, and invited him to visit Hanoi National University. In response, the Most Venerable Chairman expressed his delight at the sentiments of Professor Dr. Lê Quân and his team members. The Most Venerable believed that the cooperation between Hanoi National University, Trần Nhân Tông Institute, Vietnam Institute of Buddhist Studies, and Vietnamese Buddhist Institutes would be favorable in many aspects, thereby achieving good performances in the fields of Buddhist research, scholarship, and education. The Most Venerable promised to arrange a convenient time to visit Hanoi National University and suggested research cooperation and exchange programs between the parties. The Most Venerable revealed that he would facilitate and help the project and instruct the relevant Sangha sections to support when needed.
On the morning of July 19, 2023, the Giang Provincial Buddhist Board solemnly held the inauguration ceremony of the Electronic Administrative Office and the opening of the ABBOT Skill Training Course 2023 at Phật Quang Phổ Chiếu Pagoda in Giang Province.
Reflected in his opening remarks, Most Venerable Danh Động emphasized that the IM Administrative Office was inaugurated to meet the actual needs in the period of integration and development of digital era, in line with Industrial Revolution 4.2. At the same time, the ABBOT Skill Training Course held from July 19 to July 22, 2023 to create conditions for the abbot monks and nuns to foster important knowledge of the period of integration and development, realizing the documented plans of the National Buddhist Congress for the tenure 2022-2027. While implementing the law on religions and belief and coordinate programs with the Fatherland Front and Provincial Police. Reporting on the organizational work, Venerable Thích Minh Nhẫn said that in the past time, the Provincial Buddhist Parochial Board conducted meetings and sought advice from venerables of the Standing Board of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha Parochial Council, especially from the guidance of the Second Office in the design of the Buddhist Electronic Administrative Office of Giang Province. The Buddhist Electronic Administrative Office of Giang Province is located at Phật Quang Phổ Chiếu Pagoda, to facilitate the centralized infrastructure investment, long-term orientation, and convenience for maintenance management. the total investment in equipment and furniture for each administrative office is nearly 2 billion Vietnam dong, and information technology room with 30 computers and workstation is over 1 billion Vietnam dong to serve the organization of training courses on communication and digital transformation of the Sangha in the province and the region. The Electronic Administrative Office has a system of managing administrative documents, sending and receiving emails and document files, decentralizing administrative management and exchanging work, implementing an internal management system related to management records of Sanghas, monks and nuns, digitized storage system, implementing the method of organizing and administering online meetings in the joint program of the Sangha and Buddhism in KIEN province. In his bestowing words, Most Venerable TIionG ANH praised the merits of KIEN Provincial Buddhist Parochial Board in the past time for its effort and design of Electronic Administrative Office. This is an extreme good result that KIEN Provincial Buddhist Parochial Board has made, contributing to the stability and development of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha in the 4.0 industry era, and at the same time, it was the opening of refreshing the abbot skill course, also a very important task, helping the abbots to receive and impart new knowledge in the integration period. In a dignified atmosphere, the dignified honorifics and representatives of the government conducted a ceremony to press the button to inaugurate and officially put the Electronic Administrative Office into use.
From July 11, 2023 to August 4, 2023, Most Venerable Thích Bảo Nghiêm, Vice Chairman of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha Parochial Council, Head of the Dharma Evangelism Section, Head of Vasa Organizing Board, Provincial Master of Retreat Points, together with the Permanent Mission of Hanoi City Buddhist Board, Religious Affairs Section, the Traffic Police Department, Hanoi City Police, visited and worked at the retreat points across the city.
During 5 days from the 11th to the 16th of July 2023, the delegation visited 10 retreat points in districts of Hanoi City. At each retreat point, Most Venerable Thích Bảo Nghiêm greeted, encouraged, and praised for the merits of monks and nuns, encouraged devotions of monks and nuns to keep the precepts, to fully observe the 6-session timetable as prescribed to constrain body and mind, cultivate virtue, concentration, wisdom, and dedicate the merits to the late Venerable, the third elder of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha. The Most Venerable also reminded the reverend monks and nuns when organizing Vesa to strictly follow the instruction from the Sangha, the City Buddhist Board, and the City Religious Affairs Committee to ensure that the rain retreats are fully accomplished. On this occasion, the monks, nuns, and ladies were also informed about the revised charter of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, the provisions of the law on religious management, and especially the participation in ensuring traffic order and safety.
On the afternoon of July 17, 2023, at the Dam Pagoda in Hue City, the signing ceremony of cooperation to propagate the project Dharma Dress Code, Language, Art, and Buddhist Cultural Symbols took place co-joined by the Central Cultural Section of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha and the Provincial Buddhist Boards of Provinces Thừa Thiên Huế, Quảng Trị, Quảng Nam, and Quảng Ngãi.
At the conference, Most Venerable Thích Anh, head of Hue City Buddhist Board, emphasized this is the general policy of the Sangha, approved by Most Venerable Chairman of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha Parochial Council, and now it is the signing off for propagation of projects with the Provincial Buddhist Boards of provinces and cities across the country. Most Venerable Thích Anh, standing member of Administrative Council, Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, head of the Central Culture Section of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, briefly reviewed the research results of 4 projects, including Language Dharma Dress Code, Heritage and Cultural Architecture of Vietnam Buddhism performed by the Central Culture Section in the past period, and the program of activities in the next period. The propagation and dissemination of projects were meant to create sacred and dignified spiritual energy in Buddhist rituals while preserving, promoting, and enhancing the role of Buddhist culture in building and developing an advanced Vietnamese culture imbued with national identity. The signing ceremony took place in the spirit of solidarity, harmony, with high unity, making an important milestone for the development of Buddhism in central provinces in the coming time.
On the morning of July 17, Most Venerable TIểng NGANG, chairman of the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha, together with religious clergy and honorifics, the Buddhist Council of Patrons, and Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Provincial Buddhist Board witnessed the incense offerings to commemorate the heroes and martyrs at Công Đảo Altar Temple.
Upholding the nation's morality of drinking the water, remembering its source, for upholding the patriotic traditions, and towards the 76th anniversary of Invalids and Martyrs Day, the People's Committee of Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Province cooperated with the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha Central Board to organize many spiritual ritual activities to pray for 2,000 heroes, revolutionary soldiers and patriots who died from 1862 to 1975 in Côn Đảo, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Province. On this occasion, the central ritual session held a great requiem and opened the altar fandom by Most Venerable Thích Lệ Trang, a permanent member of Vietnam Buddhist Sangha Council, head of the central ritual section, serving as the ritual conductor master. In the sacred atmosphere of the sea and islands, the Sangha congregation solemnly turned to the Buddha pedestal and in turn carried 9 tablets from the historical sites on Côn Đảo to arrange them in the altar temple. At the ceremony, Venerable TIểng ANH TUạt N, Chief Secretary of Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu Provincial Buddhist Parochial Board, presented a review of the history of 9 monuments. Côn Đảo Prison contains the painful parts of the nation, and at the same time, is a testament to the strong will and indomitable spirit of the Vietnamese Revolution. After that, the religious honorifics led the Sangha to perform traditional Buddhist spiritual rituals, and the congregation coalesced in prayer for the martyr souls to be transcended. The activities took place from the 15th to the 20th of July, including the commemoration and death anniversary of martyrs, revolutionary soldiers, and patriotic compatriots who died in Côn Đảo. Other compassion activities were also organized with visits to Hàng Cemetery, meetings with former political prisoners on Côn Đảo, visiting families of former political prisoners, and lighting candles in gratitude.
The program Vegan Fiesta Day, Joining Hands to Protect the Environment, was solemnly held on July 16, 2023, in response to vegetarianism and environmental protection at NGAY Vâng Church House, Quảng Nam Province.
The program also included social exchanges and communication about the benefits of vegetarianism and proper vegan. At the same time, a free vegetarian party was offered with many quintessential, attractive, and hygienic vegetarian dishes. The program, Vegan Fiesta Day, Joining Hands to Protect the Environment, responds to vegetarianism and protects the surrounding environment in order to encourage and participation of the local community in activities of preserving relics, restoring traditional cultural values, and developing cultural tourism and local products. Thus, it is to propagandize, promote, and introduce the traditional cultural values to domestic and foreign tourists about NGAY Vâng tourist site, Trần Dynasty Special National Monument in Đông Triều, a contribution to regain tourism activities after 2 years under COVID pandemic spell. The volunteer group Sacred Forest Calls for the Heart organized a cleaning program for the relic site to spread, inspire, and encourage a change in awareness and behavior of each traveler, with a desire that each person does a good deed, no matter how small, but useful to society. The activity took place regularly on weekly routine so that small changes may create great value. Mr. Nguyễn Hoàng Tuấn, representing the volunteer group Calls to the Sacred Forest, Calls from the Heart, shared, the fiesta is a meaningful activity to raise the public awareness and responsibility of people and tourists from all over the world in protecting and preserving the living environment in general and protecting and preserving the environmental landscape. He hopes to receive support from levels of authority. Before that, the delegation held a ceremony at GIANG to attend the Dharma conference to pray for world peace and a prosperous country. Monks and nuns and Buddhist lay people also organized incense offerings, sightseeing at some relics of Zheng Dynasty Special National Monument in Dongqiu Town.
Venerable monks and nuns, Buddhist ladies and gentlemen, the last news has started off this weekly Buddhist Newsreel. Thank you for your attention and following. Goodbye and see you in the next program on Peso TV channel. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha.